the Wicked Advent calendar. Of course, if you have any Advent calendar, you can play along at home, right? This 2 here, since it is the second day of Advent, has like a little S here. I am not a Wicked expert, by the way, so I don't know what all of this means. But I'm sure some folks out there, who are familiar do know. Hang on. Gotta resituate things now. Boop, 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 boop. See, I'm not AI. I'm a real person. If anyone's like, that's scripted. She didn't do it. No, this is just what it is. Okay, figure it out. Oh, look at this. It looks like a little pack of stickers here. Very nice. The first sticker, it says Unbreakable Bond. Then it has Glinda and the Wicked. Yes, yes. Right. Okay. Ooh. Has them on the back side too. Nice. Look at that flying monkey right there. Wow. Yeah, a lot of people talk about flying monkeys. Because sometimes it feels like, we're on the attack from folks, and it's like, what is your deal, right? Like, why can't you just chill? Something of that nature, right? You ever meet somebody like that? It's just like there's never any downtime for them. It's just whatever, and it's like, you know what? I'm not into that right now. So, yeah, you go figure it out. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and pull some tarot today using the Pulp Tarot deck. Okay, so the Pulp Tarot deck is a standard 78 card tarot deck. Okay, if you're looking at decks to use for yourself. And no, I don't think playing with cards or using cards is demonic or anything like that. In fact, I used to play gin rummy with my elder relatives. Okay. And, all the guys, the men would get together and play poker. And, you know what I mean? And when I was younger, instead of playing video games, that's what we did, folks. We got together and played cards. We'd play spades or hearts or a game we called pitch. Not euchre, but pitch anyway. Pitch forever. Pitch trumps for euchre, y'all. If only you knew. Right. What was that one show where they said, oh my gosh, I feel like it was something like with the introduction of MTV Cribs, I want to say. All right. Anyway, so that might be relevant for somebody. Again, so somebody might be seeing you as very successful, like, oh yeah, like you got it all, blah, blah. But, in reality, that's how they did you, and you're like, I'll pass. As we all know, with the story of Wicked, there's a falling out. So sometimes we feel in favor, sometimes we feel out of favor, but that doesn't mean just because we're not somebody's favorite doesn't mean we're not the favorite of God, right? In the sense that you have your own divine mission and purpose separate from everybody else. Okay, you were born perfect the way you are. Okay. Four of Pentacles. Yeah, I was getting that message a little bit earlier too. So here's the 2, there's the 4. Somebody wanting you to feel like you're in lack, but maybe like, see, the 4 of Pentacles is also, it's not about just being in lack. It's about, are you saving your money? Are you, you know what I mean? Like, like people that are crying about, paying, this and that and the other. It's like, okay, well, some of us grew up without this and that and the other. So, no, I don't relate. when you're saying you're cutting way back and it's like, well, you still are paying for a lot of stuff. So, anyway. And I'm not saying we can't have the comforts of life and things of that nature. So that's the thing. It's just that you're creating it in a way that where you're not bleeding money, you're attracting money because the things that you do save money. For instance, one of the things I have done over the years to save money is make my own laundry detergent. People be like, "What?" And but honestly, it's not that hard when you have all the ingredients. By the time I throw it all together, that's, the same time it would have taken me to run to the store. Okay, but if I already have all the ingredients, then it's fine. Which I have that recipe on my Feel Better Guru channel, by the way, if you're interested in that. Queen of Cups. Yeah, feeling emotionally stable in your home because you are being careful with your money. You're not being foolhardy with your money. So, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, we're just coming out of Scorpio season. Okay. So, again, you might be like curling up, now that, all that outdoor work's done, you're curling up with your good book or your movie and your tea or your ice cream sandwich, that you have left over from the summer and you're like, ah, this is the life, you know what I mean? Just enjoying the simple things. Like, what's so bad about that? You know what I mean? People want to make stuff super complicated. Oh, you have to have this. It's always about jumping through hoops. It's like, oh, well, if you have this, then you'll be happy. And if you have this, then you'll be happy. And it's like, well, were you ever happy with any of the other things that you have? What makes you think that the next thing's going to make you happy? If you're not happy with any of the other things, like, anyway. Yeah, moon card, look at that. So Pisces and Cancerian again, especially with the Queen of Cups here. So, things being revealed emotionally, and we do have a full moon coming, the cold full moon. I believe it's the 4th and 5th. I think technically the full moon is on the 5th, but usually like the night before you can see. I prefer looking at it the night before. I think it usually looks the best. Magician. There might be something going on with Mercury retrograde still, or some planets in retrograde. I'm not an astrologer, so you'd have to go look up that separately. But I do know there's more than one astrological system. So if for some reason you're just not resonating with a certain astrological chart or reading, just remember it could be very pointed and it could not be related to how you are embodying your chart. Like, it could be all about like a love, a Venus reading, what's your Venus sign in this house and blah blah blah. Well, maybe you're in your North Node right now, and maybe love is not the number one priority. So yeah, that might not resonate with you. Right? So, it's the kind of emotion where you're like, "Look, I know you wanna pull me into something, but, just because I don't wanna jump in it with you doesn't mean I don't understand it." Like on Forrest Gump, and he's like, "I may not be a smart man, but I know what love is." He's like, you know, "You can't fool me." So again, this Queen of Cups, like, she's being very secure with who she is. She could be partnered, she could be single. I'm not really sure here. But what I'm getting is that she feels very secure within herself either way. You know what I mean? And like, maybe your partner is the type that's out plowing snow right now. So you're like, well, I'm at home making my tea and, catching up on my whatever Grey's Anatomy that he don't want to watch anyway, right? Or whatever, you know what I mean? Who cares? Do you want to sit there and watch all his sports? I don't think so. Like, like, it's okay to, take that separation, take that thing that some people might be view as negative. Some people be like, "Oh, you watch all your time with sports. You never spend any time with me, blah blah." Well, maybe that gives you time to go do other things and have your own interests if you don't like doing that. You know what I mean? You ever see those dating profiles I have over the years when it's like they're looking for somebody who likes exactly the same thing that they do, like to the T? And it's like, well, it's like if I wanted to date myself, I can just stay single. You know what I mean? Yeah, Five of Pentacles again, somebody wanting to you to see yourself in a lack. Um and maybe it's because they don't understand how you're moving. So I feel like even though, because like on that card, it was a woman with a baby. So it was like, even though, like maybe you're a single mom, you're like, well, I don't, so it's like, I still got to get these kids to school. I still got to make this food. I still got to go to work. I still got to get this car fixed. I still got to go Christmas shopping. I still, you know what I mean? Like, and your point is, like, where somebody else is just, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, Two of Cups. So I feel like for some of you, you might have a love coming in to support you on this venture in a way. If you're not already, but I feel like the thing is that you're not settling for less. Okay, so even if that perfect person isn't here, like absolutely right now, you're feeling so confident, like that, why wouldn't they be type thing, So yeah, see, you're very confident here with the Nine of Pentacles. Okay. So again, we started with the number 2, and then the last card in the reading here is the 2 and the 2 of Cups. All right, and you got the Queen of Cups earlier. So this person could also say be attracted to the way that you're able to make something out of, maybe nothing or not as much as other people have, and you've been able to kind of, when you're like over Thanksgiving weekend, Pretty in Pink was on, right? And where she took two dresses that were not exactly her style, and then she kind of made it into like her fun 80s, prom look. And it was like, hey, look at how much look at all the talent that it took for her to do that, and the confidence to go, and you know what I mean, all those types of things. Okay. So, when you sit down and give yourself a moment, right? It doesn't really matter, your partner status, although here it's calling for it to say that if you want it, it's there basically. It's kind of like, I feel like if you want it, you just have to look for it a little bit, is kind of what I'm getting, where it might be like an under your nose type thing. Okay. Let's see, we went through that pretty quickly. So let's see here. I'll get some more messages. I think I will, just because I have the angel number cards here. And some of these numbers are like ones I've never seen before, but I like part of the other part on them, because it has a word definition and things of that nature. So don't just take what the numbers on the cards mean. Okay. Okay, reassurance here, 747. Trust your intuition and make practical decisions. Okay, so yeah, again, Four of Pentacles, that's being, practical with your money, not being a spendthrift, right? Make practical decisions that align with your higher purpose. Your guardian angels are acknowledging your efforts. Okay, so, and again, and this could be one of those things where you're just like feeling a little nervous about it too. And you're like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna, get through this holiday season because I got this, that, and the other. And then you're gonna remember that, like, oh, well, I have cherry pie filling in the You know what I mean? And we're just going to figure this out, old school it. We don't need to buy this and that. Like we got this under control. That's lean on your ancestors for that help. Like how do you think they got through, the Great Depression and beyond? Or the Dust Bowl or the the Great Potato Famine, wherever your folks came from. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, and that was before the internet. My God, how did they survive? Right? All right. Okay. Simplification. Yeah, and this message was coming through earlier too. It's kind of one of those things where it's like if you can't survive without your Wi-Fi for, however long, you might need to readjust your priorities in life. You know, or however that's entertaining you. Okay. Anyway, we all know what it means to be in balance with that. Simplification 654. Simplify your life and focus on what truly matters. Declutter your mind and surroundings for greater clarity and effectiveness. So, again, Scorpio season at the end of that, that's a great time, at the end of fall. And then, it's like, did we need all of this here? Like, where are we storing all of this, right? And then you start saying, well, maybe I don't need this and that. And, it's like, do we need all these subscriptions? Like, when's the last time you watched this? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And it's not to be cheap or whatever. It's just making sense and the best use of your time, It's like, who are you? Are you being guilted by your subscription services? You know what I mean? Growth 234. Okay, you are experiencing growth and expansion in all areas of your life. You are on the right path and moving towards greater fulfillment and success. So this could also be growth outside of your family unit as well, okay? Or growth outside of your current workplace, okay? When we enter the heavenly realm, right? That's growth that, we're not gifted to see until we get there. Right? So, we slowly get to go that way. So, the numbers here 2, 3, 4. So to me that means, just kind of like one day at a time, one step at a time. You just keep at it. We're on day 2 of the advent calendar. You know what I mean? You could be like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. We're going to have to do dinner. Blah. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, we're on day 2. Start making a plan now, right? Maybe by day 16 or 13 or 4, you know what I mean? You can have executed some of that plan, from your prep work, for your holiday season or, however it's going, right? So, some of that growth is, just being a grown up and saying, okay, I can't remember all this in my head anymore. Maybe I need that planner to write it down. Maybe I need to hire that assistant for it to go smoothly. You know what I mean? Um, that's a maturity that we see as well at the end of the season, and because it's like, wow, look at what we accomplished, but what might have we accomplished had we had the proper assistance. Okay? So when it says here you are experiencing growth and expansion. All right, so it's not just personal growth. When you grow, that means, relationship wise as well, networking, business, contracts, all sorts of things. Okay. Self love 676. Prioritize your well being and cultivate a deep sense of love and compassion for yourself. Yeah. So, get yourself that massage, that pedicure, buy those little eye patchy things, whatever. You know what I mean? So, here with the 2 of Cups, it's about knowing that you are okay. But, hopefully somebody's going to meet you on that path, right? And also somebody that's not gonna get jealous, right? If you go to the gym, or you go, to your fantasy football or your paint night party at, hosted at your local tavern, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And, when somebody recognizes that, then you're pretty lucky, right? Because it's like, thank goodness they recognize the things that I need to be able to do, right? To keep me whole. So you're not dependent on that person, right? So you can actually join together, right? Okay. That person could also be 6 foot tall for some reason. That's coming through. Okay. So, yeah, in the bottom of the deck here, it says enthusiasm. So I feel like, yeah, overall, there's definitely a positivity heading in towards the end of the year. Okay. For those that are watching. All right. So, I think that's all I have for today. So I hope you enjoyed this reading, and remember, we're going to continue on with the Advent calendar here until the end of the Advent calendar. Anyway, until next time, please do manifest wisely. Bye bye.